So Marcy here is going to ask me some of the questions. You feel me? Let's get straight into it.
What do you think people get wrong about masculinity right now?
There's a lot of things. You know, I think from the women, y'all think masculinity is more so like financial sometimes. You know, y'all get caught up in a man's finances and then start to ignore the other shit that a man has to bring to the table. And then I think for men, we view our masculinity from the same lens almost. I think it's the financial thing. We think having money counteracts or like makes up for badass habits and like just terrible behavior. Like thinking all because you have money you can be a dog. All because you have money you can lie, cheat, manipulate, like you're exempt or something like that. Like money makes you different from anybody else. There's a lot of shit fucked up with masculinity. Be honest with you. What you think?
From everything you're saying, like, that's something that, yeah, a lot of women, we kind of like we participate on those things, like where we're like, oh, he has money, so we're going to tolerate more. We're going to let a lot of things just slide because he's in a certain position. So it kind of feeds the energy.
So do y'all make those type of decisions just for like self-gain, just for money? Like, we about to put up with more shit just because we know he's paying us so we have access to more? Or like, it's literally just for that? Just like you're using him damn near, so you're like, since I know I'm using him, I'll let him, you know, do certain things.
I feel like it mainly depends on the woman, because some women go in with that mentality off the gate. But then there's certain times, like even with like just one-on-one relationships, when you like someone, when you love someone, you're willing to compromise more than when you don't.
That's true.
So they can have that energy naturally, you know. But then there are also people that are vultures that have those mentalities where they're like, okay, this is exactly it. And some of the men know, some of them it's like some weird agreement, you know, and then some it's just like a whole bunch of like toxicity.
And so look, and I also want to make this clear too, for anybody out there, if somebody cheats on you and that wasn't part of the agreement, get loose. Do not stay in no bullshit. Do not start forgiving. Because I'm letting you know right then and there, it may sound sweet and all this other type of shit in the moment, things like that is going to come back up, because once you show somebody one time that they can cross a boundary and they won't get the consequences over crossing that boundary, there's a likelihood of it happening again. The percentage goes up by at least 25 to 30%. Just off the fact that you forgave them you forgave them for something that they knew you should have left for. Once somebody cheats on you, I don't give a fuck how much money they have. I don't give a fuck how cute they are. I don't give a fuck how good they dick is, how good they pussy is. I don't care I don't care. If they lied and told you straight up that y'all were exclusive, y'all were monogamous, and they step out and cheat, they were almost fucking with your reality in a sense. Like, think about it. You're living life from a certain lens that isn't true. You're moving like you're in a relationship. So you're turning down opportunities. You're turning down dudes. You're not talking to people. Those same people could have turned around and gave you money, job opportunities, and everything. Like living in a marriage relationship with a motherfucker who isn't in the same energy with you, your reality's tainted.
Yeah.
You're gonna have blessings that's blocked and everything else like that, because you're living from like denial almost. I don't even know what to call that. It's like an illusion.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So if people get caught up on like the image of stuff, and they like things to be a certain way, and then they'll, you know, behind closed doors they're just like, oh well, they need to make things happen, or they can do what they want, you know, whatever side it's coming from. It's like, yeah, it's that toxic entanglement, you know.
Right.
So like
Crazy.
with that too, so I think I was like, what's wrong with me? No, I think I said what's wrong with masculinity, but what do people get wrong about it? Like, what's a healthy form of masculinity? Yeah.
Honestly, it's being present and knowing yourself. I believe every man brings something different to the table. Every man has different characteristics and different strong suits. I believe that comes down to knowing who you are, what your strengths are, so you can build upon that, but then also being very aware of what your weaknesses are and working on those things actively. Of course, being a man comes down to showing up for the people you care about, leading by example. There's a lot of men out there that, you know, they're out there telling their kids not to do certain things and they're doing it. Not leading by good example. I wouldn't call that very masculine energy. You know, I just think being a man within itself, you have masculine energy just off the fact that you were born with a certain body part, you know. But I think the character of the man that matters a lot, and that varies by person, what they grew up around, what they view as right or wrong, their belief systems. Just be you, you know, but just don't be an asshole. Make sure you're rooted in some type of God, you know, whatever you believe in, the God in you, the God in Jesus, whatever, I don't care. Just make sure you have some type of presence, you know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because men are men. Men gonna do what the fuck they want, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Men are the same one that started wars,
Yeah.
made guns and shit.
Right. Yeah, with women,
like-
it's different. I think we're taught definitely the opposite, you know, to be
What's up?
repressed, and, you know, like, men are able to just do what they want. Women can do the same thing, but it comes with, like, I believe, more repercussions.
I can see that too.
Yeah. It's like,
Did we turn your mic on?
is it on?
No, it's not on.
Okay.
It's good, but my mic was on, so.
Yeah, and I watched that video, and it was your cousin didn't have a mic, right? Whew, that's that investment.
Right.
Okay, so why do you feel like men are taught to hide their emotions?
Mommy and daddy issues. I'm gonna keep it real with you. If you grew up in a household where your emotions wasn't being ignored and your emotions were somewhat taken care of and met, you're not gonna bring that shit into a relationship. Like if you had a mama or a daddy or some shit like that who was like telling you shit like you're the child, I know better, I know best, kind of belittling what you feel and what you think in your perspective solely because they're an adult, that can pop up. Just the suppression of emotion, you know. I think that's why men don't communicate, men don't open up, just trauma, really.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
That's it, it's just trauma. If you're around motherfuckers who was making it easy for you to communicate, you communicate. If you were taught that it was bad to communicate, you don't communicate. When you come out the womb, you don't know the difference between right or wrong. That was taught somewhere. That was like from experience, being shown that it's not wise or it's not okay to open up, so they stop.
That's real.
And it's crazy because a lot of times men be talking about, oh, it'd be the women they don't want us to open up and they leave us when we open up and all this other type of shit. I don't think that's true. I think you learned not to open up because of some type of childhood dynamic, some type of, you know, childhood trauma. And since the only reason, or how can I put this? The only ways you know how to communicate is from a traumatic lens. When you do it with your partners, it comes off in the wrong ways. It isn't being received correctly because you haven't learned how to actually communicate. So when you start telling it to the partners and shit like that, all she's seeing is the emotional, like, they'd be like, oh, she left me during my lowest, and when I was crying. It was like, well, what energy did you give off during that low point, you know? Did you give off, like, the world's fucking ending, everything's done, you know? Or did you... and then try to put it on her, make it feel like her world was also about to end just because your world was ending? Or did you have like a level of communication like, hey, I know my world's not ending, but I'm going through something and I kind of want to communicate it, you know, and just let you be aware of it, not making my problems your problems, but communicating what I'm going through. And if you do have, you know, something that you can help me with, we get on that basis. You know, a lot of times when men do communicate, we communicate in a way where it's damn near making other people's problems our problems, like guilt tripping. We communicate in a ways that instill a lot of guilt in women. It makes them feel bad, like they gotta do certain shit. I think that's what I don't like, but yeah, it's usually some childhood trauma. It's just learned behaviors, truthfully.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah, you break that one down. Like that explains a lot of behaviors, definitely. You know, just to, like, wait, and then women are taught to be like, okay, let me pattern this, let me be caring, and then you're kind of soothing, or then the soothing turns into like enabling.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
For real. All right. I think I just dialed into masculinity. Wait, what?
I hope y'all are liking the videos too, man. I'll see y'all on the TikTok. I see y'all on the Instagram. Hit 100K. Keep saying that. Congrats to y'all. Congrats to me too, but congrats to y'all for healing. You feel me? Being receptive to the messages.
For real.
It's a big step.
What's something men wish women understood about them emotionally?
They feel the same thing as y'all. We feel shame. We feel guilt. We feel pain. We feel love. we feel attachments. I just think how we react or how we respond to it isn't native to you guys. So it causes a lot of dysfunction. When you don't understand that your man could be feeling the same ways that you feel, but he's just expressing it a little bit differently. And since you aren't understanding it, you're taking it as a me versus you instead of us versus the problem. Yeah, men have difficulties opening up. You know, sometimes the distance could literally just be them not knowing how to say it. You know, since men aren't usually taught their emotions, they aren't very good communicators and exhibitors of those emotions. So they do get misinterpreted a lot, you know. Like some of the most aggressive niggas be some of the hurt ones, most hurt ones. They just want that inner child to be seen, but they having difficulties doing that, so they become aggressive. Like that's gonna make them be seen. But it's like, no, brother, not at all.
Right.
If anything, that's gonna make people ignore you. They're gonna call you a hothead.
Exactly. Yeah.
What about women?
On the flip side, when men are like, women are too emotional or too like reactive, it's like, it just feels like when you're in your feelings, it's like it consumes so much, and then it's like it comes out in different ways, but it's one of those things where it's like, I'm trying to express it, but you can get like overwhelmed, and you're taught to just, you're taught that it's okay to just lash it out, to not contain yourself, that you need to kind of spill it out instead of internalize it. Like with men, you're taught to be like, okay, you got to say this, you got to kind of fix the emotion. You're taught to not sit with it. So when you don't sit with your feelings, it can come out as like very erratic. It can come out as very like intense. And sometimes men, like, you know, then them not being used to that energy, and they're dealing with things how they're dealing with it, it's like a complete opposite. And it's like, oh, this is a lot, this is too much, or whatever the case is when it comes to expressing valid feelings.
What do you think is something you wish men knew more about women or understood?
Wish men understood that, like, actually, it's something I have to like pause on and reflect on. What is it that I wish men understood? Just understand that like the emotions that we feel, like even if things don't look practical, they hold just as much weight. Because I feel like a lot of the times with men,
I can see that.
it turns into a, well, this has to be formatted, or this has, you know, it's very on the logical end, but then it's like the emotional side, like certain things that don't really make sense but you can feel, it gets kind of put to the side, and then it's hard to express it because you're like, well, I just have the feeling, and we're not taught to put language to our feelings, we're taught to put language to like our thinking. So it's not as smooth, you know. And then the socialization too is like, if you take authority over yourself or what you feel or think, you're seen in a certain light, like hardened or, you know, like jaded or whatever. But sometimes it's like, you know, there's a lot of restrictions, I think, in that space. So men work with their logistics a bit more, you know.
Interesting. I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I can see that. We do approach a lot of your emotions with logic.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see how we could box you guys in. You know, something crazy too, because spirituality is actually rooted in our emotions. Our emotions and our spiritual attributes go hand in hand. Spirituality has never been a game of logistics.
Right.
It's never been a game of logistics. It's been a lot of emotion, energy. That's the core root of all of it, you know? Our inner being, not our outer being. So we're moving from that logical headspace. We do block a lot of things. We not only block the women, but we block our own spiritual abilities and our intuition. Intuition is not logical, but your gut instinct will save you in instances where if you didn't have it, you'd be cooked.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. But I think that's also because a lot of men haven't learned how to sit with their feminine energy.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's kind of difficult, you know, especially when other toxic men start calling you gay and all sorts of shit for sitting in grass. Like, I'm not gonna say no names. I had one homie say sitting in grass was gay, and he didn't want to shoot the video in grass. And I was like, well, okay. But I was like, but it's grounding, you know, it's kind of...
We're in nature, like what? Right. We can't sit on the ground, the earth? Like.
Right, but when the boundaries and the shit is that tough, and that that rigid around men, you see why they have difficulties communicating with y'all and being in healthy relationships.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to hold no feminine energy within, how are you going to be able to hold a woman?
Right.
It's impossible. Any and everything she does is going to trigger you.
Yeah.
Real
That's
shit. Real shit.
It's real.
Well, is that all you got for right now?
Yeah. I mean, that's some music culture. The Megan and Clay situation.
I think we got to save that for y'all in another video.
Yeah.
Don't want to give y'all too much. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. Y'all know how to find Marcy. Y'all know how to. Peace.
Cool.